everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
All right.
Today, we're going to be tackling a topic that's pretty important to a lot of Canadians, I think.
Wow.
It's the $10 a day childcare program.
Right.
And we're going to be looking at a variety of sources for this.
Okay.
We've got some government reports, some news articles, even some opinion pieces.
Wow.
Really trying to get the full picture here.
Sounds good.
And the goal today is really to figure out, is this program actually living up to all the hype?
Okay.
Is it really making a difference?
Yeah, because we've all heard about it.
We've all heard about it, so let's dive in.
All right.
So before we even talk about the program itself,
Yeah.
let's talk about what the situation was like before. Like, how bad were childcare costs for Canadian families
Right.
before this program came into effect?
Yeah. So imagine this.
Yeah.
You're a parent in Toronto.
Okay.
You have an infant.
Uh-oh.
You're looking at somewhere between $1,900 and $2,400 a month
Wow.
just for childcare,
Just for infant care.
just for infant care.
Goodness.
Toddlers aren't much better.
Okay.
You're looking at $1,600 to $2,000 a month.
Oh my gosh.
And even for preschoolers,
Yeah.
it's still $1,300 to $1,700 a month.
Gosh, those are some really, really steep prices.
Yeah, it's a huge burden on families.
It's like paying rent on top of rent.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
this $10 a day program,
Right.
like, are we actually seeing $10 a day childcare yet?
So not everywhere just yet.
Okay.
It's a process, right? Different provinces and territories are kind of moving at their own pace.
I see.
But there is progress for sure.
Okay.
Like reports show, families are already saving on average like $6,000 to $10,000 a year,
Wow.
which is amazing.
Yeah, that's a significant chunk of change.
Huge.
Yeah.
And some regions have even hit that $10 a day target already.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's really promising.
Yeah.
So it's not like a complete dream yet,
Right.
but it seems like it is making a tangible difference
Think
for
so.
a lot of families.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing, like you're saying, it depends on where you live.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, what are some of the factors that determine how much you actually end up paying?
Well, location obviously is a big one.
Okay.
Rural versus urban makes a difference.
Yeah.
The type of facility, like,
Yeah.
are we talking a daycare center or are we talking a home-based
Yeah.
program?
Mm-hmm.
The age of your child, of course,
Right.
and, just the specifics of the program itself.
So it's not as simple as just like, oh, it's $10 a day across the board.
No, there's still some variation there for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. So families definitely need to do their research,
Absolutely.
figure out like what's the actual cost going to be in their specific situation.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're seeing some financial relief for families,
Yeah.
but I'm really intrigued by some of the other impacts that I'm seeing mentioned in these reports.
Like what?
Like, especially for mothers.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it seems like this program is having a ripple effect on their participation in the workforce.
Huge ripple effect. We're talking like a 71% increase in maternal workforce participation
71%.
since the program started rolling out.
Oh my goodness. It's incredible.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So what do you think is driving that change?
Well, I mean, obviously, when childcare becomes more affordable,
Yeah.
it just opens up so many more possibilities for mothers.
Right.
It's like they can finally contribute financially,
Yeah.
pursue their own careers,
All right.
Achieve some financial independence.
Which has got to be a game changer for so many families.
Oh, absolutely. And not just for the families themselves, but for the economy as a whole.
Right. So this is like a win-win situation.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, but here's something that I'm wondering about.
What's that?
Like making childcare affordable is fantastic.
Yeah.
But what about the quality of the care?
Right.
Like, are we sacrificing quality for affordability?
That's such a good question. And that's what's really interesting about this program.
Okay.
It's not just about lowering costs.
It's also about raising the bar for the entire childcare sector.
Okay, so how is that actually playing out?
Well, we're seeing improvements across the board.
Like, what kind of improvements?
Like, in terms of curriculum standards,
Okay.
the training that early childhood educators are receiving.
So they're investing more in the actual educators.
Exactly.
Interesting.
It's like the program is incentivizing providers to invest in quality.
I see.
And that's leading to, better learning environment.
Yeah.
A more skilled workforce.
So it's a win-win-win.
Yeah.
More affordable childcare for families,
Uh-huh.
more opportunities for mothers,
Yes.
and a higher standard of care for the children.
Exactly.
Okay, now I'm curious how this is all rolling out across the country.
Right.
Like, is it the same everywhere, or are there some provinces or territories that are kind of ahead of the game?
Yeah, it's definitely not a uniform picture.
Okay.
Imagine looking at a map of Canada,
Okay.
right? And each province or territory is kind of coloring itself
Yep.
as they make progress towards that $10 a day goal.
I like that visual.
Yeah, so some are moving faster than others.
So who are the star students so far?
The British Columbia is definitely up there.
Okay, what are they doing?
They've actually achieved the $10 a day target in like 96% of eligible facilities.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and they're really focusing on, strategies to keep early childhood educators in the profession.
Okay, so they're thinking long term.
Absolutely.
Anyone else doing really well?
Yukon's another one.
Okay, what about them?
They've hit $10 a day
Uh-huh.
across the entire territory.
Wow.
And they've implemented a $30 an hour minimum wage for early childhood educators.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's a huge step
Yeah.
towards, recognizing the importance of these professionals.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it probably helps attract more people to the field.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anyone else we should mention?
Well, we can't forget about Quebec.
Right.
They've been doing this for years.
Yeah, they've been the model for a long time.
Yeah, they have their own system that predates the whole federal initiative.
Right.
And their fees are as low as $8.85 a day.
Wow.
So they've been leading the way for a while.
Yeah, so it seems like there are a lot of different approaches.
Yeah,
But the general trend is positive.
absolutely.
Okay, so we've talked about the good stuff.
Right.
The affordability, the impact on mothers,
Yeah,
the quality improvement.
the progress across the country.
Yeah, but I'm sure there are also some challenges.
Oh, for sure.
And maybe even some critics.
Oh, absolutely. This is a big program.
Yeah.
It's going to have its critics.
So let's dive into that side of the story a little bit.
Okay.
What are some of the bumps in the road?
Well, I think one of the biggest concerns is the strain that this is putting on childcare providers.
Okay. How so?
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
This program has led to a surge in demand for licensed childcare services.
Right, because it's more affordable now.
Exactly.
So more people want it.
Exactly.
So what's the problem with that?
Well, providers are now dealing with much larger class sizes,
Okay.
often really long wait lists.
Oh, so it's like too much of a good thing.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
more families want access to this affordable childcare.
Yeah.
But the system isn't quite equipped to handle the influx. It's
Yeah.
a balancing act.
So that's a challenge.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, there's also the financial side of things.
Right.
Like, while the program aims to make childcare more affordable for families,
Right.
it also needs to make sure that providers can actually operate sustainably.
Yeah, they got to stay in business.
Exactly. And there are some concerns about the long-term financial viability of the program,
Especially for...
especially for smaller independent daycare centers.
Right. They might not have the same resources
Exactly.
as the larger ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I imagine the staff shortages that we've been hearing about
Oh, huge
are
problem.
making things even more complicated.
Huge problem.
Yeah.
I mean, finding qualified early childhood educators was already a challenge
Right for
Yes.
this program.
before all this.
And now, with the increased demand and often limited resources,
Yeah.
it's even tougher.
So it's a tough situation.
Yeah.
A lot of moving pieces.
A lot of
challenges.
It's a complex issue.
It is complex.
For sure.
Okay, so it's clear that this program, while it's incredibly promising,
Yeah,
it's not a magic bullet.
definitely not.
There are some kinks to work out.
Absolutely.
But, we've only just scratched the surface here.
Yeah.
We still need to explore, some of the criticisms,
Right.
the political battles that are being waged,
Uh-huh.
and what all of this means for the future of childcare in Canada.
Yeah, there's a lot more to uncover.
So stick with us, because we'll be back soon with part 2 of this deep dive,
I can't wait.
where we'll tackle those thornier issues head on.
Sounds good.
All right, so welcome back.
Yeah.
We're diving back into this $10 a day childcare program.
Yeah.
And in part 1, we talked about, all the potential benefits,
Right.
financial relief for families,
The impact on mothers in the workforce,
the progress being made.
the quality improvements. Yeah.
Big deal.
It is a big deal.
Yeah.
But now I think it's time to,
Get a little critical.
explore the other side of the coin.
Right. Because no program is perfect,
No program is perfect.
especially one this big and ambitious.
So what are some of the concerns that people are raising?
Well, I think one of the loudest criticisms is just the cost.
Okay.
Like, some people are saying that this $10 a day model,
Yeah.
it's just too expensive
Okay.
and unsustainable in the long run.
Okay. I can see that argument.
Yeah, like they're worried about, the massive government subsidies
Mm-hmm.
that are required to make this work.
Yeah.
And they're saying, this is going to lead to higher taxes
Okay.
or cuts in other essential services.
So essentially the question is, can we really afford this in
Exactly.
the long term?
Yeah. Is this putting too much strain on the system?
Okay, so that's one concern.
What else?
What about the idea of fairness?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Like, is this program truly benefiting the people who need it most?
Right, because some critics are arguing that the way it's structured right now, it might actually be benefiting higher income families more.
Oh, how so?
Well, because they're the ones who are more likely to be already using licensed childcare.
Okay.
So now they're getting these subsidies,
Right.
whereas lower income families might be, using informal arrangements.
Okay.
Or they're on these really long wait lists.
So they're not actually getting the full benefit.
Exactly. So it's almost like the program is helping those who could already afford it.
Yeah. And not necessarily reaching the people who need it the most.
Yeah, that's the concern.
Okay, and what about this idea that I've heard some people talking about,
What's that?
that the program is too focused on a one-size-fits-all approach,
Oh, yeah.
and it doesn't really consider the needs of different families?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
I mean, not all families are the same.
Right.
Like, what about parents who work non-standard hours?
Yeah.
Or families in rural areas with limited childcare options?
Right.
Or families with children with special needs?
Right. Those are all really important considerations
Yeah, the current model might not be flexible enough
to accommodate everyone.
to meet all those different needs.
Okay, so that's another critique.
Yeah, and then there's the whole debate about for-profit childcare providers.
Oh, yeah, that one always gets people fired up. So
Yeah.
what are the arguments there?
Well, on one side, you have the people who are really pushing for a public and not-for-profit system.
Okay.
They're saying that's the best way to ensure quality
Uh-huh.
and keep costs down.
Okay.
They're worried that for-profit centers might prioritize profits over the well-being of children.
Right. I can see that concern.
Yeah, it's like, are they cutting corners to make more money?
Yeah, that's a scary thought.
It is, but then on the other side, you have people saying that excluding for-profit providers
Yeah.
could actually limit access to care,
Okay.
especially in areas where nonprofit options are scarce.
Yeah, I can see that too.
And they're also saying that a mix of providers
Yeah.
would create more competition,
Okay.
which could potentially drive down costs.
So it's a tough one.
Yeah, there are valid points on both sides.
So it sounds like finding the right balance
Yes,
is going to be crucial.
absolutely.
And I imagine that's where the political debate comes in.
Oh, for sure.
Like different parties have different visions for how this program should evolve.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Okay, so we've talked about the criticisms,
Uh-huh.
the concerns,
Yeah,
the political battles.
different perspectives.
Now I want to try to look ahead a little bit.
Okay,
What are some of the potential long-term impacts of this program?
right.
Both good and bad.
Well, if we're optimistic,
Yeah.
I mean, if this program really delivers on its promises,
Yeah.
we could see a generation of Canadian children benefiting from high-quality early education.
That's the dream, right?
It is. And think about what that means.
Yeah.
Improved educational outcomes,
Uh-huh.
better health.
Greater social mobility.
All good things.
It's like a ripple effect of positive change.
It's like an investment in the future.
Exactly. And then there's the potential impact on gender equality.
Right.
With more mothers in the workforce.
Mhm.
We could see a shift towards greater economic parity between men and women.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
So many potential wins.
But let's be real.
Yeah.
There are also potential downsides.
Oh, absolutely.
What are some of the things that we should be cautious about?
Well, one concern is the strain on the childcare workforce.
Right. We talked about those staff shortages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, what happens if this program succeeds beyond our wildest dreams?
Okay.
And the demand for qualified early childhood educators just skyrockets.
Right.
If we don't invest in workforce development, training, fair compensation,
Yeah.
we could end up with a system that's bursting at the seams,
Okay.
but lacking the people to actually deliver that high-quality care.
Right. It's like building a house on a shaky foundation.
Yeah. Okay, and what about the cost issue?
Right. Because even if this program does reduce out-of-pocket costs for families,
Yeah.
it's still a massive investment from the government.
Yeah, taxpayers are footing the bill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if costs spiral out of control or, unforeseen economic challenges arise,
Yeah.
it could put a strain on other public services
Right.
or lead to some tough choices down the road.
Okay, so it's a balancing act. Affordability versus sustainability.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's this other concern that I've heard some people raising
What's that?
about the potential impact on family choices.
Oh, yeah.
Like some people are worried that this heavily subsidized system
Yeah.
might discourage one parent,
Usually the mother,
usually the mother.
from staying home with their children,
Right.
even if that's what they would prefer to do.
So it's like, are we unintentionally pushing parents into the workforce
Yeah. Are we limiting their choices?
when they might actually prefer to be at home?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah, it's about respecting different family structures.
Right.
Different parenting choices.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then I guess the last thing to acknowledge
Yeah.
is that any program this big
Right.
is bound to have unintended consequences.
Things we can't even predict right now.
Right. It's like throwing a pebble in a pond.
Yeah.
You never know how far the ripples are going to spread.
And in what directions?
So we need to be prepared for the unexpected.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
We've talked about the criticisms, the concerns, the potential downsides.
But also the potential upsides.
Potential upsides, yeah.
It's a complex issue
It's a complex issue for sure.
with a lot of different perspectives.
But I think one group that we haven't really talked about enough
Yeah.
are the early childhood educators themselves.
The people on the front lines,
Exactly. Like, they're the ones who are actually making this program happen.
they're the backbone of the system.
So let's shift our focus to them for a bit. How is this program impacting their lives and their careers?
I think for a lot of educators, this surge in demand for childcare services
Right.
is a bit of a double-edged sword.
Okay, how so?
On the one hand, it's really validating to
Mhm.
see their profession finally being recognized as essential.
Right.
And to see, more job opportunities opening up.
So that's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah, it's a morale booster.
But what's the other edge of the sword?
Well, it also means that many educators are now working in really demanding environments.
Okay, in what way?
Well, larger class sizes,
Yeah.
long wait lists,
Right.
the pressure to maintain high-quality care,
Mm-hmm.
despite all these challenges.
Yeah, it sounds stressful
It can be really tough.
and potentially lead to burnout,
Absolutely.
which could then affect the quality of care.
Exactly. It's a vicious cycle.
Okay, but I'm guessing there are also some positive impacts for educators.
Yeah, for sure.
Like what?
Well, the emphasis on quality has led to a lot of investment in professional development. So educators are getting more training, more mentorship opportunities,
Yeah.
even chances to pursue further education.
So there are opportunities for them to grow
Exactly.
in their careers.
It's not just about surviving, it's about thriving.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. And while wages are still a big issue,
Yeah, that's a big one.
the program has led to some improvements in compensation in some areas.
Okay, like what?
Well, remember that $30 an hour minimum wage in Yukon
Right.
for early childhood educators?
Yeah, that was a big deal.
That's the kind of change that can make a real difference.
Yeah, in attracting and retaining qualified people.
Absolutely.
So it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. But there's still a long way to go.
To ensure that these educators are fairly compensated
For sure.
for the amazing work they do.
I mean, this is a demanding job,
Yeah.
both physically and emotionally.
Yeah, you're shaping young minds.
Exactly.
Nurturing their development.
You're laying the foundation for their future learning.
It's a huge responsibility.
It is.
And it requires a lot of skill
And compassion.
and patience.
And resilience.
Yeah, so their well-being is crucial
Absolutely.
to the success of this program.
If we want this $10 a day vision to work,
Yeah.
we need to make sure that these educators are supported
Respected?
and fairly compensated.
Okay, so we've talked about families,
Provider,
educators,
politicians,
the future.
the big picture,
But now I want to bring it back to the heart of the matter.
the children.
The children.
The reason this whole program exists.
Yeah, so how is this program potentially impacting the kids themselves?
Well, one of the biggest potential benefits is just access
Access to...
to high-quality early childhood education.
Right?
I mean, the research is clear.
Yeah.
Those early years are crucial
Crucial.
for brain development, social, emotional skills.
It sets the stage for everything that comes after.
Exactly.
And for children from disadvantaged backgrounds,
Especially.
this access can be even more transformative.
Absolutely. It helps level the playing field.
Right.
Gives them a better chance to succeed in school and in life.
So it's not just childcare, it's an investment in their future.
Exactly.
But are there any potential downsides?
Well, one concern is that if the focus on affordability comes at the expense of quality,
Yeah.
then the program might not actually deliver on its promises.
Right.
It's not just about having a place for kids to go while their parents work.
Yeah.
It's about creating enriching environments where they can truly thrive.
So that balance is important.
Always.
Affordability and quality.
Yeah. And another concern is that if this program leads to a big increase in the number of kids attending formal childcare settings,
Okay.
especially at very young ages,
Yeah.
it could have unintended consequences.
In what way?
Well, some experts worry that too much time in structured environments
Okay.
might not be ideal for very young children.
I can see that.
Like some kids might thrive more in less structured settings.
Yeah, with more play-based learning,
Okay, so
more one-on-one attention.
So it's about finding that sweet spot.
Yeah, finding the right balance for each child.
And I guess the last thing to remember is that
Yeah.
even with the best intentions,
Right.
we can't predict everything.
Yeah. There might be unintended consequences.
You just have to be mindful of that.
And monitor the situation closely.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that was a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
A lot of different
A
perspectives.
lot of nuances.
But I think it's clear that this
The
program,
$10 a day program.
it's a bold experiment
It is.
with both risks and rewards.
For sure.
But ultimately, it's an investment in our children.
And in our future.
And that's something worth striving for.
Absolutely.
All right, so we've examined the program from all angles.
We've looked at the research,
The
the
data,
opinions.
the different perspectives.
We've even tried to predict the future.
But now we want to hear from you.
Yes, our listeners.
This is your chance to share your thoughts, your experiences, your questions.
What has resonated with you?
What are your biggest takeaways?
What parts of this story are hitting home for you?
Are you a parent who's already benefiting from the program?
Tell us how it's impacting your family.
Are you an early childhood educator working on the front lines?
What are the day-to-day realities like for you?
Are you waiting for the program to be fully implemented in your province or territory?
What are your hopes and fears?
We want to hear from all of you.
Let's open up the conversation.
Share your thoughts,
Your insights.
your questions.
Let's dive deeper together.
And there you have it, folks.
That's our deep dive.
Into Canada's $10 a day childcare program.
It's been quite a journey.
It has been.
We've explored the complexities, the
the
controversies,
potential.
the challenges.
But one thing is clear.
This program is a game changer.
It's a bold step towards a more equitable and inclusive future.
For Canadian families,
For mothers,
for children.
and for our society as a whole.
It's an investment worth making,
We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive.
and that it's given you some food for thought.
Remember to keep those conversations going
Stay curious.
and stay engaged.
The future is ours to create.
Together.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
All right, welcome back to the deep dive.
Yes, welcome back.
We've spent the last two parts really digging into this $10 a day childcare program.
Yeah, we've looked at a lot of different angles.
We've looked at families, we've looked at providers,
Educators,
educators, politicians, even the future.
and we've had some great conversations.
Yeah, but now it's your turn.
It's time to hear from you guys, our listeners.
What are your thoughts on all of this?
Have any of you had personal experiences with the program?
Good or bad? We want to know.
Yeah, we want to hear it all.
So if you're a parent who's already benefiting from the program,
We want to hear how it's impacting your
the
family.
finances, your work life,
Everything.
or maybe you're an early childhood educator,
Someone who's working on the front lines.
what are your day-to-day experiences like?
What challenges are you facing?
What are the bright spots?
We really want to get a sense of what it's like out there.
And for those of you who are still waiting for the program to roll out in your area,
What are your expectations?
are you excited? Are you nervous?
Share your thoughts with us.
This is a program that's affecting all Canadians in one way or another.
So let's have a conversation about it.
What do you think about the long-term sustainability of this program?
Do you think it's a step in the right direction?
Or do you have some reservations?
We're open to hearing all perspectives.
And if you have any ideas for how to make this program better,
More equitable, more
let's
accessible.
roll ears.
Let's brainstorm together.
So let's open up the floor.
What are your burning questions?
Your insightful observations.
Your personal stories.
We're here to listen and learn from you.
So let's have a great discussion.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive.
Into Canada's $10 a day childcare program.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It really has. We've covered a lot of ground
Explored a lot of different perspectives.
and hopefully learned a lot along the way.
I know I have.
Me too. And I think the biggest takeaway for me is that this is a program with immense potential.
Yeah, it's ambitious,
It's not without its challenges.
but it represents a real commitment to investing in our children and in our future.
And that's something to be excited about.
We've seen the impact it's having on families,
On mothers
on the economy.
and on the early childhood education sector.
It's a program that's sparking conversations across the country.
And it's one that's worth following closely.
So we encourage you to stay engaged, stay informed,
And keep those conversations going
because ultimately the success of this program depends on all of us working together.
to create a better future for our children.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
We'll see you next time.